If you click this video, you probably know how tough the job market is right now. Unemployment is high both in Canada and in the US. But in as much as it's tough and people are struggling to get jobs, there's still people that are getting hired into the few jobs that are available. How are they doing it? That's what I want to talk about in this video. I've interviewed hundreds of candidates both as a recruiter and as a hiring manager. And if you're wondering how you can actually get past the interview stages and start getting offers, keep watching. I'm going to help you out. If you're new, hello, I'm Nicole Nyasha. I'm an ex-recruiter with a professional recruiter certification, and I share career and personal development content. I would appreciate it if you like this video, and if you do find the content useful, please subscribe. One of the most important factors that contribute to success in an interview is your research and preparation. And I'm not just talking about knowing the company's mission statement. In an interview setting, that's not quite helping you. First thing you want to be prepared about is the actual job. Have a thorough understanding of the key skills, the experiences that they're looking for. And then you need to match these with your own experiences. So kind of figure out a way to prepare specific, and I mean really specific examples that demonstrate how you have successfully applied these skills in the past. Because the job market is tough right now, you really need to demonstrate that you can do the job. This is not the time to be generic and vague with your answers, because if you're trying to be humble, the next candidate is going to go in detail and make you look like you know nothing. Another aspect is you need to determine what tools and systems that the company uses. Most times, this would be outlined in the job description. If you have experience with similar tools, you're good. If not, you may want to check how the tools they're looking for relate with what you have used so that you can speak to it in the interview. The next part of research is knowing a little bit more about the company. We want to know that you know the actual business the company is into, their products or services, their clients, the issues the company has been experiencing. The basics, of course, like their products and services, you can find that on their website. And then you also need to know current issues. So go to Google, search for the company name, and then click on the news tab. This will show you the media releases, if any, about the organization. And if it's a publicly listed company, you can actually go and search for their financial statements or their investor reports to get key pieces of information. This information is going to help you to answer questions and also come up with questions to ask. If you bring this up in an interview, it actually shows that you have a genuine interest in the company. And this is always a huge selling point when there are two equally qualified candidates and the recruiter or hiring manager is trying to determine who's better. Another part of research is connecting with current employees. Once you find out you have an interview, go to LinkedIn and reach out to one or two current employees in that role. A quick informational interview can provide you with really good insider information that you can use to subtly incorporate in the interview and score you a job offer. I know it sounds like, okay, this is really doing the most, but in this current job market, you need to do the most to set yourself up for success. You should also take a couple of minutes before your interview to browse employee review websites like Glassdoor. This will help you see what both existing and former employees are saying about the organization, and you're going to be able to understand the culture better. Knowing this ahead of the interview can give you an upper hand when you're responding to questions. I think it's also a great idea to look up the interviewer. I do need to give you a disclaimer here. LinkedIn will notify somebody if you go and take a look at their profile. But I think it's a good thing. You know, it shows the interviewer that you have a keen interest in the role. And best case scenario, you might find something on their profile that you share in common. It gives you some more insights about their personality, their background, their experience, and you can use this to your advantage during the interview. It's also very important to me when speaking about preparation to bring up the mental piece. A good mental space is crucial when you're attending interviews because it just shapes how you present yourself and your abilities. Always remember that if you've been invited to the interview, you've actually done a great job. The company already believes that you have the skills and qualifications to some extent to do the job. This is just a chance for them to confirm that belief. So approaching the interview with confidence and a positive mindset allows you to showcase your true potential without any hesitation. Trust your capabilities. You've already made it this far. You got an interview. The interview, keep this at the back of your mind, is as much about your confidence and the cultural fit as it is about the experience. Speaking about how you position yourself, and this, if not done properly, can actually be the reason you don't get hired despite being qualified for a job, is being personable. Stop sounding like a robot during your interviews. The company is looking for a team member, somebody that can be a part of them, who can do the job. It's easy to fall into the trap of, giving rehearsed answers. So let's talk about what you can actually do to bring your personality to the interview room. Start with genuine connection. Instead of diving straight into the interview and being all serious, try starting with something lighthearted. If you notice something interesting in the interviewer's background, let's say when you were looking them up on LinkedIn, bring it up. If there's something in their background, it's a virtual call, bring it up. It's always great when you meet somebody with similar interests, so use this to your advantage. Then it's also important to mirror the interviewer's energy. Pay attention to their tone and their pace. If they're relaxed and conversational, then mirror that energy. If they're more formal, then adjust accordingly. Be self-aware. It just makes the conversation feel more natural. The key here is to be yourself while still being professional. People want to hire somebody they see themselves working with every day. Another way to be personable, and this is very important, is to use stories when responding to questions versus one-word answers. Instead of just stating facts, frame your experiences into stories. For instance, if you're asked about a challenge that you've overcome in the past, try and paint a vivid picture of that situation, whatever emotions were involved. This not only makes you more relatable, but it also is much more memorable, and you want the interviewer to remember you after the interview. And this brings me to the next tip, which is to master the art of storytelling. I'm sure you've heard of the STAR method of responding to behavioral questions before. So situation, task, action, and result. While STAR works, I actually recommend using something different, and that is CARL. I have a very detailed video that explains this technique and why it's more effective than the STAR method. But basically, when responding to questions, you want to start with the context and then the action that you took, followed by the results, and then you want to close the story with the learning. This is a better flow, which makes sure that your story is clear, it has a beginning, it has a middle, it has an end, and it also demonstrates to the interviewer your personal awareness from the learning that you share. And a mistake I've seen candidates make is when they're speaking about projects. If you're going to talk about a team project, make sure you're clearly defining your role. What are the specific actions that you took that contributed to the overall success of the project? It's great to showcase that you have the ability to work in a team. We all have a team player, but I also want to see how you stand out as an individual contributor. Throughout my years as a recruiter, I saw over and over candidates get hired when they were not necessarily the most qualified for a job. People get hired and just better at articulating their experience. They tell great stories that stick in the interviewer's mind long after the interview is done. So you want to aim to be relatable and memorable. Next important thing, and this is probably where 80% of candidates miss it, is asking the right questions. Another one of my pet peeves when interviewing is when I ask the candidate if they have any questions and they say no. My interpretation of this is you're not interested. Always prepare questions to ask in the interview. I have a detailed video with examples of questions that you can ask, but here are some that you can't go wrong with. Ask them about the team dynamic. Can you tell me about the team I'll be working with? How do they collaborate on projects? This shows that you're already envisioning yourself as part of that team. You can also inquire about current challenges. What's the biggest challenge the team is facing right now? And how can somebody in this particular role overcome it? I like this one because it shows that you're proactive and you're eager to contribute from day one. Another great question is, how does the company support the professional growth and development of employees? Asking them how your performance will be evaluated. This signals that you're not just looking for a job for the next couple of months, for the next year, but you're looking for a place to grow your career. Asking thoughtful questions can be the tipping point that sets you apart from other candidates. It shows that you're engaged, you're forward thinking, and everybody wants to hire somebody like that. Finally, and throughout my recruiting career, I've seen maybe just 10% of candidates do this, is to follow up with impact. And I like to break this down into 2 steps. To follow up during the interview. So before the interview ends, ask if the interviewer had any doubts so you can clear them. Is there any part of my experience that you'd like me to clarify? Can actually give them an opportunity to ask you clarifying questions and gives you a chance of getting the job. And then before the interview ends, reinforce your keen interest in the role. I thoroughly enjoyed meeting with you today and learning about whatever it is that you've learned about. And I'm really excited about this opportunity. And if you give me the chance, I won't let you down. Some people might say this sounds, desperate, you're doing the most, but I've personally used this statement in all my interviews and I've experienced success. The second part of following up is the thank you email. It takes about 5 minutes to do this, but for some reason people don't do it despite how impactful it is. Send your thank you email the same day as the interview, mention something specific from your conversation, and briefly restate why, again, you are the best person for that role. And if there's something that you had forgotten to indicate in the interview, this is the perfect spot to bring it up. I have a video that goes into detail on how to send thank you notes. When it comes to sending thank you notes, you also have to think about the bigger picture. It can happen that they make an offer to somebody else, but even if you don't get the job, still respond to the recruiter. Let them know that you'd still be interested in other opportunities that might come up. If the person that got the offer did not join and you were close enough, the recruiter and the hiring manager do not want to restart the entire process and start interviewing candidates from zero because they've already planned to have somebody in the seat and working by a certain date. So they might just reach out to you, get on a quick call, maybe clarify some things, and you might end up getting the job. And so don't underestimate the power of sending a thank you note and following up even if you don't get the job. So there you have it. Those are 5 detailed steps to ace your next interview and be amongst the top candidates. The key is to do thorough research, be personable, master your storytelling, ask insightful questions, don't miss this part, and follow up with impact. These steps might seem simple, but when executed correctly, they can set you apart from the competition and make you get that offer. Let me know which one is your favorite in the comments. If you found this video helpful, you'll definitely enjoy watching this one. God bless you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.